little bit more pleasant Tuesday. I was outside this morning doing some things, and I'm telling you, you could almost feel it wasn't it wasn't like fall air, but there was a lot less humidity, especially this morning, and that was a nice little break. We're still going to be warm for the next couple of weeks, much drier. Some of y'all got some serious storms last night with some serious wind. I think I only got the wind portion of that, but that was part of this cooler air trying to move in here yesterday evening. As we get cranked up here today on the big show, we got a lot going on. I'm going to dig heavily a little bit later, probably later in this hour, into the flock camera situation, because they're just a series of stories that have popped up all over the place on those cameras. The president kind of punted on it yesterday when he said he'd wait a couple of weeks and study the issue. I mean, this is more of a granular local issue. These are local municipalities and police departments instituting these things in communities. But we got to have a national conversation over this stuff, because I will admit there's some really good law enforcement use of these things, but the invasion of privacy, the violation of the Constitution, and everything that goes with it, we got a lot to talk about, because we've just got some really egregious cases of people doing stuff they shouldn't be doing with this data, with this information, and the fact that these things give a lot of false reports, and people are being confronted at gunpoint by the popo over a false charge that has nothing to do with them, and somebody's going to get killed. But I'm sorry, I'm almost started ranting on it anyway. I'll save that for a little bit later in the show. Let's kind of set the table and see where we're going with some of this stuff. I guess one of the first stories of the day was this Penn State cocaine ring with a bunch of frat boys. That's probably the least surprising story I've ever heard. It just is. Many of you that have ever been around those environments understand that cocaine moves through fraternities at universities. The only time in my life, I was telling Jessica this morning, the only time in my life I've ever seen cocaine, outside of being a reporter and going with the cops on a bus where they pop somebody, or one of these drug raid stories, or when they got a big haul, you never see it. I'd never seen it in the wild until a bunch of fraternity guys back in college I was exposed to because of a roommate had it in their frat house. I was like, my God. I mean, it was the 80s, and so it was much talked about, much more vilified, I suppose. And I didn't know of any detail. I just knew my roommate was somehow associated with it, so I kicked him out. It was good for me because I got I got half price on apartment rent for the rest of the year. Yeah, man. So the story goes 13 of these frat boys, and I don't remember the name of the fraternity, and one of their dads got pinched in this thing, and it was a pretty simple operation. They'd travel over to New York City from Penn State and buy kilos of coke. It's all over New York City. Bring it back, cut it up, and sell it on campus. And so one of the worst parts of the storytelling, though, is they had some pledges as part of their initiation, I suppose. One of these idiots, these are supposed to be college students, right? The educated elite at Penn State, had on his phone a video of them making the little Pledge brothers chop it up and put it in little baggies for them. They had their own little incoming 17, 18-year-old Pledge brothers cutting and sorting and bagging. Like, I guess they call them bag boys. I don't know. I guess it's better than the butt play that some of these fraternities will do during hazing. AJ, you ever been hazed?
No.
You've been hazed for any reason? Hazing is a thing, and it does go on campuses. So here comes the drug raid. Penn State. What's funny about Penn State, too, is they have a tradition at their football stadiums, and I guess they'll keep going with it, but no pun intended, but y'all have seen it. They have whiteouts where all the fans dress in white, and they white out the whole stadium, and everybody wears white because that's one of their main colors. And I don't know, maybe that's a bad look right now, but anyway, Penn State story, front and center in the news. You would think of all the college football stories that are out there, especially with Penn State being a pretty big college football program at one point in its history. Cocaine story wouldn't make the top of the college news today, but there it is. Let's go through most of the stories. Sometimes when I start making my list every day and I start trying to sort it all out, I will notice patterns. And today was one of those days as I was listing some of the interesting things I was able to find, in looking and reading all day. The theme of the day with some of these stories is, and it's a fact, government makes everything worse. It's fact. They make everything more complicated, everything more expensive. Any of these politicians running and saying they're going to save you money or going to help your pocketbook, they almost can't unless their philosophy is to get government out of your way. If they're about cutting taxes and cutting regulation and easing government's weight on the back of people, then maybe they could help. Because all of this inflation, and I've given this speech a couple of times over the last couple of weeks, all of the inflation we're dealing with right now with your money being worth less, it came from government spending since COVID. And Trump's responsible for this too in the run up to COVID when they decided to shut down. And again, they were being lied to by all the experts that predicted mass death if we didn't shut down. So erring on the side of caution, a lot of people went forward with it, even though as time would go on in the disease, not even 2 months in, we realized that wasn't necessary, but we did it. And to replace the shutdown, we spent all that money. And then we let them use the crisis to steal an election, put in a potato as president while this cabal of thieves ran the White House. And then they got passed a gigantic, supposed to be sort of a green energy inflation busting spending bill. But all it did was make the money in your pocket worth less. And none of the things they thought that they championed, and I've got examples of that coming up here in a minute, say from New York City, none of those things came true for anybody. None of that spending did any good. Maybe some of the roads and highways, I guess. So what they did was, if you just want to measure it, 40% of the dollars floating in our economy right now, through a combination of both Democrats and Republicans at trying to outspend each other on their own pet projects, 40% of the money that's out there, the actual dollar value in the economy, was manufactured and printed in the last 5 years. What? That's why your money's worth less. I gave an example yesterday when I was talking about Alabama Gold Refinery of if you had taken, say in 2019 before COVID hit, if you had taken, say, $2,000 and laid it on a table and just let it sit there till yesterday, if you just sat the $2,000 down in cash, laid it on a table, and then beside it, you had $2,000 worth of gold, which back then might have been a full ounce. I haven't gone back and tracked the price 6 years ago, but it was not too far north of that. So if you let the money sit there and then 6 years later you decide, I'm going to use my wealth now, the cash would be worth less. The cash is worth about $1,200. The value of those dollar bills laying on that table in that stack have gone down basically 40% of buying power, what it can purchase. Gold, for example, would be worth close to $5,000. I haven't looked at today's price, but these are round estimates. The bottom line is you've got fake value and governments making things more expensive to us. And then, of course, things of real value. You need to memorize that lesson in your life as you're trying to save and store up wealth. And later I'll tell you about Alabama Gold Refinery and how you can do that with them. That's an example of government making everything worse. It's like a tax. They have built a tax into the economy by inflating the dollars. It makes everything more expensive. And so, and if they got out of the way and quit putting us into bankruptcy with their spending, which never recirculates into the economy and helps poor people, that's the biggest lie on planet Earth. I think it was a Margaret Thatcher quote today, and I'll probably mangle it, but it was something along the lines of, Marxism and socialism, it didn't come from the people. It didn't come from the bottom up. It came from the intellectuals who just wanted to obtain power so they can run people's lives. And they weren't very good intellectuals at that to come up with such a stupid idea. And now we've got some very desperate younger people who are embracing this nonsense. And they're doing it foolishly because they don't know history and they don't know economics. And they're emotional and they like the promises. I'm telling you, kids, it'll never pay off. It'll never pay off for you. It does not work. It will make life worse for you. They will only make you miserable and take your freedom. So if you look, I'll give you a laundry list and then we'll go into the break and I'll come back and start dealing with some of these things. But just today in the news, we got all this flock camera intrusion on your ability to move about without being surveilled by your government. There's a story out of California today where California just changed the rules over what kind of tires you can buy for your car. They're now going to make it more expensive. It's already one of the most expensive states to live in. It's going to be more expensive to buy tires. The estimate right now is $180 billion, I think, over time, that it will add to that economy of tire purchasing for the consumers in California. It's just a government rule that probably won't do a damn thing. I just saw another headline a second ago where there's a new study out. New York City imposed a tax to help with air pollution. They imposed an air pollution tax. So they taxed people. They took the money. Did the pollution get better? No. The study's just out. It didn't help. I could keep going. There's a whole list of things today of just stupid stuff that always costs us money and makes us more miserable. And that's the path we've been on. On the happy side, we've gotten some really good freedom-oriented court rulings today. A lot of that dealing with the Second Amendment and some of the immigration stuff. We're going to get to all those things. It's primary day in Florida, and the GOP is turning out almost 3-1 over the Democrats in that state. Now, look, I know that's a number that has to apply if the Democrats have something competitive or not. But Florida's becoming heavily Republican. I'm old enough to remember when it was a split state in the whole country. It came down to the state of Florida as to who won the presidential election. And now a lot of that's changed, and it's fascinating to see it. We'll get into the details of that and get updated numbers as we get further into the show. What else we got going on? That'll get us set up. Your phone calls too, breaking news when we get it. We're always on top of the new stuff. Wanted to talk about Douglas Cooling and Heating right off the top. Jay came out today. We had to kind of really plot out the details of the mechanical part of this home edition we're working on. And, you know, I'm simple-minded. I don't know anything about heating and air. So I'm thinking, run the ducts and put the units in. Jay was so meticulous about thermal values of the windows and where certain ventilation things go and how you're going to do the return so that things can stay cool and correctly cool, because this is a new construction build. And so we got a chance to, instead of having to retrofit things down the road, he was helping us, pressing us a little bit, helping us think as to exactly what all we needed. I really enjoyed the visit. Also, I owe an apology to John. I hope he's listening. I told Jay to have him listen. John came out a couple of weeks ago to help me with a setup. Somehow when I was on the air, I got my brain locked on that his name was Mason. So, because Mason from their shop had texted me a couple of times that day about the appointment. So John's the one that got me fixed up on the older part of the system, and I called him Mason. Hey, Jay, I called my brother by the wrong name. And I think he was miffed. So, John, my apologies, man. You did a great job for me. If y'all want somebody to come out to your house, you're going to enjoy having out to your house. Tell them you want John to come out. Now he's going to be too busy. No, he was so great. We stood around and talked for a long time, and he was so helpful, and I appreciate that. Apologies, man. And Mason, you didn't do anything, so you just stay there on the phone, buddy. I'm kidding. I'm sure Mason's a cool guy, too. But now, Douglas, look, y'all can tell the relationship. I've been with him for 17 years. This company's been around way longer than that, since the early 70s, as they've grown and become bigger and more capable. And they've got a full range of capabilities, from electrical to plumbing to, of course, they even offered to do some things I didn't even know Douglas could do on the install, which is amazing. And so look at their Google ratings. Look at how they do things. They've built a lot of trust in this community, not just with me in this radio show, but just regular folks that they service out there from time to time. When it's this hot, man, it's a lifeline to have a good heating and air company if you have trouble. And they're just that. Same thing's going to be happening in a few months when we get the cold weather. Oh, cold weather. So y'all get them over there. It's Douglas Cooling and Heating. Let them take care of all your stuff. Do the maintenance. Trust me on that one. Do the cleanings, do the checkups, handle that stuff. And of course, they can handle the new installs like they're doing for me as well. Call Douglas.com, C-A-L-L. Call Douglas.com, license number 2017181. Back in a minute. All right, y'all, ease on back in here and we'll keep talking. Back to my project again. I believe in loyalty, and I'm certainly loyal to all the sponsors on the show. One of those sponsors is EcoView Windows. They'll be helping me figure out the window portion. And what's cool, and I've told you this before, they don't carry the exact brand of windows at EcoView that I already have on the house, and I want it to match. But they're going to find them for me. They're going to source it, and then I can trust that EcoView is going to come do the proper installation. I want everything done right. I'm a little bit meticulous and living right here with this project, and I trust Becky Jackson and her company. You can too. They can save you 35% on your heating and cooling if you come let them button your house up. Most houses are just inefficient, and you're wasting about 35% of all that money that's on your power bill. What was your power bill last month? Answer that in your head. Do the math. What was 35% of that? I mean, that's easily 70 to a couple $100 for some people, depending on the high demand use that you have in the summer. That pays off over 12 months, and then multiply that by the years you'll have these windows in your home. Starts to pay for itself. It's a great upgrade. Not to mention, when we get that nice fall weather, you can open those windows and let the fresh air in, because some of those windows on your houses are painted shut. I get it. Y'all, it's EcoView Windows. If you just want the best company around with the best installers and the best products, reach out to Becky Jackson's team and let them come take a look. They'll give you a free estimate. They're good like that. Take good care of you. EcoViewWindows.com. EcoViewWindows.com. Back to my rant on bad government. I got to throw this Mondani. I keep saying his name right. Is it Mamdani or Mondani? Dami. Anyway, Mamdani. He had, of all his bad ideas, one that has backfired on him spectacularly. These socialists want to vilify people for being successful. Their whole business model is built on envy and lust, and it's just evil. It's nothing short of theft. They would like to use the government to steal from people they think have more than them. Even though these people didn't take anything that they have from them, they created it and grew it like a field full of corn, like a garden. They watered it, they tended it, they weeded it, they watered it, and they watered it again, and they prayed for more rain, and they looked out for the critters, and they grew their crop, and they took the seed and grew a bigger crop the next year financially. And then these a-holes come along and say some of it belongs to them because they're not good at it. Capitalism's not evil. They're just not good at it. Some people are talentless. Some people are criminals. Some people are lazy. Some people just don't have some breaks for sure, but they're not taught to create their breaks. And so the envy builds, and then you have socialism. We're not the first generation to see it. It's been going on for years. And here they are again. They got somebody elected mayor of New York City. And one of the things he did was put out a hit list on wealthy people that had property in New York City. They doxed their own citizens. This is the mayor. Okay. Among the many things we could gripe about with this fool, and I'm so glad my son's not living there anymore. But so today, and this is just a case in point, today there is a hearing, I think it's going on right now, at the New York City Hall from these people called second property owners. These are people that maybe, I don't know, have lived in the city most of their lives, but moved to Florida or moved over to New Jersey for whatever reason. They'll keep their property and rent it. Sometimes they'll keep it and use it when they come to the city. Sometimes there are many reasons you'd have to leave a city, but you don't want to give up. Some of these properties are so hard to acquire. They've been in families for years, whatever. And so it's not necessarily that just because on paper the property's worth a lot, they're sitting on a ton of cash flow. And so sometimes they'll rent these things to help with the cost. And y'all get the economics of it. So they started adding a tax to people that had second properties inside the city, but in some cases did not live in the city. I think there were even cases of people that lived in the city, but they owned other residential property within the city. To the socialist mind, it's unfair that somebody could own two residences. There's nothing unfair about that if they earned it and bought them legitimately. That's actually more fair. You should get rewarded for your hard work and your acumen and what you do in life, and you should be punished if you're an idiot. Idiocy will bring on its own punishment. You see people like that every day, everywhere you walk around. Just there's a stupid tax people put on themselves. So, but Mamdani, armed with this idea that they're going to take from these people that they vilified. And by the way, when you just do the math, let's forget the moral principle of it. When you break out the calculator There are not enough rich people in New York City for him to pay for all his promises if he taxed them at 100%. If he took everything the billionaires in that city own and everything these property owners own, there wouldn't be enough money to pay for his false promises. And it's starting to come to reality. It is blown up on him in a big way. So the hearing's going on today, and these owners want to bitch at the council because they're being vilified and attacked by the mayor. And so what's Mondami doing? Is he going there to talk to him and reason with him, put on that cheese-eating smile of his, the little snake, and confront the issue? No, he's running from it. He's not showing up at the hearing. He sent a written statement, and none of his staff is showing up at the hearing. They're basically dissing these people that they're attacking, and that ain't going to look for them because there'll be cameras in there this afternoon, I'm sure, with them being New Yorkers and very eloquacious, shall we say. There will be some choice words in that hearing this afternoon. Again, Mamdani, government, making life miserable for his own city with their big idea. It keeps coming. I must have 15 things on here that could fit that theme today. And we're going to hit them one at a time. Take your calls too. I'm going to dig into the flock cameras when we get back as well. Lead on Live, Talk 99.5. Back here in just a minute. Y'all stay tuned. I heard Andrew earlier on his show talking about he missed his Mandu appointment yesterday because he lost his keys. Did you see him walking around, AJ? He was all over the place. We've all done it in the building, except for that one time somebody hid the keys from somebody else, and it was this whole scandal. But so he lost his keys yesterday, and he couldn't find them. And by now, if you've seen any of his social media, somehow he dropped them outside. We got these sort of box hedges outside the building, right out the main door, and they fell over in the bushes and were just hanging there in the bushes. He took a picture of it. That's the kind of thing I would do. But luckily he found them. I would have never found them in the bushes. I'd have looked everywhere but that. So, but he missed his Mandu, and I know how that feels when you're on track, you're doing well, you almost get addicted to Mandu. It's so effective because the brain's like that. I'm seeing it with Project Lean Nation right now. The more it works, the more you want to do it, the more fired up you get, and the better decisions you make. Mandu can put you on that path too when it comes to strength training, muscle development. It does it a different way than old gyms and weight resistance. This is electric resistance to your muscle fibers. It's deep tissue stimulation. Man, just go try it. I can explain it. I can do it in 10 minutes or an hour. I can do it in 2 minutes too. It's just electronic muscle stimulation that twitches your muscles after you go through a range of motions. And it feels weird at first, but once you get used to it, you get how it works. It's the feeling after. It's not while you're doing it, because it's 15 minutes, you're done. You're like, that's it. You're like, that was weird. That was intense. And then for a day or so, you're feeling it all over because it's a full body workout. Y'all try it. I think it's way more efficient and effective than gyms. And some of y'all aren't doing anything. Some of you've given up because you've lost mobility and you don't think body development or shaping yourself or building your strength is good for you. You need to go try Mandu. They're downtown Homewood. He's running a 15% off discount right now for people involved in education, whether you're a teacher or teacher's assistant, some of the aides, support staff, principals, administrators, students, anybody involved, back to school, 15% off your whole membership for as long as you keep the membership. That's a good offer. Downtown Homewood, Mandu, Manduu. Also a location on University in Tuscaloosa nowadays as well for our folks over in T-Town. Mandu, look them up online, mandu.com. Well, we got some early calls, so let's just hit the phones. We got plenty of time to get some of this other stuff. Todd is going to be first today over on line one. What's up, Todd?
How you doing, man? I just, when you were talking about the effects of good or bad government earlier, it hit me like a concrete block over the head, because I used to teach Italian Renaissance art history, and I went to school, University of Georgia over there during college, so I spent a little time over there. And in Siena, and the town and the city hall, there's a cycle of murals by the Lorenzetti brothers, Pietro and Ambrosio Lorenzetti. And it's frescoes, so they're in kind of bad shape. They were in bad shape in 92 when I was there.
Yeah.
But it's the effects of good and bad government. And it is, this is early Renaissance. So they knew exactly what was going on back then.
Yep.
And on the murals dealing with bad government, you've got crops rotting in the fields, people getting raped and pillaged in the streets, just crime everywhere, burning buildings, just chaos. Just, your typical Democrat city, basically. And then on the effects of good government, all the crops are growing, everything's flourishing, there's music being played in the street, people are dancing and celebrating, and you've got the three graces they're kind of heading up all the activity that deals with the good government, or effects of good government. And then with the effects of bad government, you've got the seven deadly sins that are kind of in charge of everything.
Yep.
So even back then, they knew it was the emotions that were going to ruin everyone. And that's where the socialists kind of come in today. So,
well, Todd, look, I appreciate that history lesson more than you know. I've been to Siena a couple of times, and I want to go back. The last time I was there, we were there for the polio. That's where they raced the horses through the square.
I hitchhiked to the polio in '92 and slept in the soccer stadium. It was
we had this one day where we could watch it, and it's like the Kentucky Derby, but bareback chaos through downtown.
Oh,
and it rained, and the track got too muddy. We were able to walk down on it and see all the dirt that they bring in, but I missed it, so I've got to go back. I'm intending on seeing this 700-year-old tradition. But next time I'm there, I want to go see those frescoes because that's pretty amazing that the
It's
cycle repeats
chaos
itself.
on a grand scale. The polio.
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah.
hilarious. I saw a guy get impaled by a sword
Oh
falling off his
gosh.
horse. I mean,
If y'all
they
don't know
are
what we're
they're
if y'all don't
nuts.
know what
They
we're
come
talking
out
about,
of
just
the
Google
they
it. Get
came out of
online
the
and look
block with
up
those
some
horses.
YouTube.
It's
Sorry, Todd.
unbelievable.
All right, Todd. I appreciate it, man. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, man. Y'all have a good one.
All right, man. Todd and I were kind of over talking to each other. I don't think you could hear me as well, but yeah. If you don't know what the polio is, this old horse race in the middle of this little. It's really a tiny town in Italy, but a very neat place. It's in the Tuscany part of Italy, but yeah. But I didn't know about those frescoes. Let me just make a note on that, and then I want to go to Trisha's call. So, the reason the Bible to me, this is just a personal observation, is so applicable today. The reason all of its teachings are so poignant, even today in our times, is because the human heart has not changed since it was written in its time. So all the warnings that are in there, all the lessons that are in there still apply because humans collectively keep doing the same dumb things. Our worst instincts are always with us. And I guess that's the whole point of the faith anyway. So then you translate that forward into government policy, war, other history. It stands to reason that we're going to keep making the same mistakes. So our founders, and I wish they would teach this in school. I just wish we'd go back to more classic education. We can't hold this country together if we don't have ties that bind. And that's what the left knows. They're trying to destroy it. Some people wonder, why are they so pro-criminal? There's a judge today that let a guy out who killed his landlord and then escaped to some foreign country, but he had been in custody. Why would you do that? Because, and I read this somewhere today, this isn't my original thought, but communism and socialism, they never take over populations that are happy. They have to create chaos and capitalize on the chaos, pun intended, and institute their way after sort of bringing about a lot of misery. And that's the cycle we're in right now. The American left tried to sabotage us with human beings and calling it immigration. They've tried to open the doors of every prison in the country, and they still stand for that. They do not believe in law and order at all because they want a different order. And in order to get there, they want to burn our house down first so they can rebuild. And instead, we got to be careful. The histories repeat themselves. The point I was getting at through history itself is the founders, many of you know this. I'm not trying to talk down to people that know. I'm just trying to, in very plain language, just to educate as much as we can on it every day. When they tried this experiment 250 years ago, they got in a room and did something the world had never seen. They didn't take power for themselves. It's the first time in human history that a country was founded on an idea of being anti-government. The Constitution of the United States is anti-government. Let that steep for a minute. It is against the very government that it set up. It decentralized power because they understood corruption. They understood those frescoes in Siena, Italy. They understood that men eventually would get obsessed with power and control, like Fauci and the other things we've studied, and start harming other people with that concentrated power. Fauci is the most recent example. This man had too much power to be in one position to dictate the things he did. Even if he meant well and was giving us good advice, he still had too much power, and he abused it. And now look at it. I've got these flock camera stories that I'm going to get to in a minute. I may save that for next hour. I've got a cop here that just got busted for using flock data 717 times to track his ex-girlfriend. Generally, that's the pattern we're starting to see. These people using this exposed data for personal reasons on police departments. And so we'll be dealing with the more specifics of that issue. But that's two levels of corruption. One guy that had the power that Fauci had, and he caused people to die covering for himself and his power. The other guy is just a dirty cop that got some info and wanted to intrude on somebody in his personal life. Abuse is abuse. Abuse of power is still abuse. And it is all of human history. And the founders set up a way for us to guard against it. They set up whole systems for us to not be run over by the government. We've got some good rulings today on the Second Amendment, which was 100% created for people to defend their communities and themselves. And no, it doesn't mean that you're going to fight a modern military, but that's not the point. Idiots that think that's what it's for. It's not to fight off the military. It's to be a hard target when your government comes knocking on the door with their flock camera data. I got more. We got much more to talk about. Let me get Trish in here. I don't want to keep Trish holding too much longer. And hey, I welcome the calls. Let's go at it today. Trish is over on line 2. What's up, Trish? AJ, is Trish there? Somebody talk to me. Hey, Trish, what's going on?
Can you hear me? Hey.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, sorry, I'm at the train tracks. It might be interfering with my reception. World's slowest train right now. I don't know if AJ gave you a heads up, but I sat down with him this morning and talked to him about Glenn Spence, and this is not related to anything you're talking about right now, but we are trying to find him. He's from Alabaster, and we're putting together a search for him this week. So I just wanted to see if you could touch on that for us and help us get the word out that where we're going to be and stuff this week.
Trish, we will do everything we can to help you. Let's start at the very beginning. Describe our missing person. How did he go missing? I need all the details. Go for it.
All right. So his name is Glenn Spence. He's a 67-year-old black man. He's 6'3". He has some intellectual disabilities and also early onset dementia.
Okay.
He went missing. He was reported missing Thursday morning. Was it Thursday morning? He went missing Thursday night, was reported missing Friday. So we've been looking for him since Friday. We are not sure where he went, how he went there. We have some details that he was picked up earlier in the day on Thursday by someone unknown to him, but made his way back to Alabaster later that day. But disappeared around between, we think, 7 and 8 o'clock Thursday night.
Okay. So this is the Alabaster area?
Yeah. So if you're familiar with Alabaster, it's the south. He frequents the Southbrook Shopping Center by Buck Creek. So there's a park right there. There's a creek. There's a shopping center. It's kind of old. There's a church right across the street. Then there's several local businesses kind of right around that area. You've got the Burger King right across the street. And then you've got another little shopping center up behind it that's got the gym time and the America's Thrift Store and a parking lot behind that. But there's like a Little Caesars, a Crunch Fitness, Cultivate Church, all of that. And that's the parking lot he typically hangs out in. And it is, I want to be really clear, it is very typical for him to hang out in those areas. So he is not homeless. He has a home. He has a family. He gets out there and wanders around, minding his own business, just being sweet as he can be.
Every little town in America, we had folks like this in my hometown growing up. The whole town just kind of looked out for them, and there's a sense of community and loss if they go missing. Do we know? So he's on foot, you believe, to start with, at least. That's what we presume?
We don't know. Well, typically, yes. He does not drive. So, yes, on foot as far as we know. But nobody knows where he went or how he went there after his last sighting that night. So we don't know if he's on foot. We don't know if he was picked up by someone. There's a lot of unknowns right now.
So is there a place where is there a page where people are organizing online or a picture of him somewhere online that people can go and look at?
There are several people posting about him in the community, but also there are several search parties out looking for him actively. Myself and Scrappy, I'm sure y'all are familiar with him, the dude in the Jeep. He has a Facebook page, and he's been sharing it. But also Alabaster Police Department has shared it. You can go on Crime Stoppers. He's on there. There is also a silver alert out for him. Yeah. But he's on, all you have to do is Google his name, and you'll find him.
Okay. Now, tell me more about the search effort. I just pulled him up, Glenn Spence. Okay. We got to help. We got to do what we can to find Mr. Glenn. This story, I've dealt with Alzheimer's in my family. I've covered stories like this where people innocently wander off, and a lot of times they are recovered. They're just lost and but able to get around through the day. And the weather's not bad. We're not dealing with a wintertime case where somebody could freeze to death, so maybe that's in our favor. He's a handsome man.
And it might be, he's sweet as pie, but he's also very accustomed to this heat because he gets out there for years and years and years and years. you have seen Glenn, if you've been in Alabaster, jeans, long sleeve shirts sometimes in sweltering Alabama heat. So typically the heat is not an issue for him. Now, with his dementia, we don't know how far progressed it is, but we do know that he was able to find his way home after being picked up earlier in the day. What we don't know is why he's not home now. But we've got together today, Scrappy and I did, and Scrappy he got Harley Davidson of Pelham to donate a building in the back of their space as a command center.
Yep.
So when I was talking to AJ this morning on his show, I think I misspoke and said that we were doing it through Saturday, but AJ can correct me if I'm saying this right. I think I said Saturday or tomorrow through Saturday. It's actually going to be tomorrow through Friday from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. We are going to be there at that Harley location every day for the next 3 days, handing out flyers for people to take and pass out. We're accepting donations of water, snacks, and stuff for the searchers and the people who are out passing out flyers. We're accepting donations of flyers from people who have local businesses. I've already gotten over 1,000 flyers donated today. But we need more because we're going to be out there for 3 days, and we're going to be out there for, 12, 13 hours a day.
Trish, God bless you, and all the people that are involved in this thing. So Harley Davidson, over there right off 119 in Pelham. I've been there a million times, done a lot of business there. Good folks, very good folks.
They're great.
And they've given you some space. That's just sort of a command center. And are you doing a grid type search where people are assigned grids and teams, which is the way it's usually done? Or how y'all doing the search?
So there is a link that I gave AJ today, and I can text it to y'all and I can text it to AJ. But let me go and look at my phone. I got to look it back up real quick. Sorry.
Well, that's fine. Take your time. We want to what we can do best is give volume to the story, like a lot of our other
That's
friends in media.
exactly what I'm hoping for. Yes, because like I've said, and I've done several news interviews now, and like I've said, you're talking about, especially where he lived in Alabaster, it's a lot of older people. So those people there's a lot of people that don't even know he's missing yet. Because the community he lives in, like I said, it's a lot of elderly folks. So they may be his next door neighbor and they don't know he's missing because they don't have social media. They don't, and so that's why we've done some local news coverage. That's why I wanted to get with you guys and AJ was so nice to sit down with me this morning and go over all of this. But just people who may not have social media but may listen to you guys, because I know you guys have a huge following here in Alabama. So the more exposure, even just by word of mouth, that we can get out to help him and bring him home, I'm happy to do it.
The core of my question is, what are you asking people to do? Because some people won't have the ability to sort of walk in the woods, but who do you need? What kind of people do you need? Young folks, people that can be out in the heat?
Oh, sorry. We need everybody. I don't care if you can't walk. If you can't walk, share it on social media. If you can call people, if you can call around and just say, hey, we've got this missing guy. Can we post a flyer at your business? Just those, every little bit right now helps because he's missing. So there is a search. There's an active search going on for him. I think we've exhausted the Alabaster area ad nauseum at this point because we feel like if it had been like a medical event or something, he would have been found by now. That's not to say he didn't go somewhere else and suffer a medical event. But it doesn't look right now like he's anywhere visible to the naked eye in Alabaster. They've been flying drones. They've been using dogs. They've had ATVs out. They've exhausted a ton of resources to try to locate him. And so far, nothing has turned up. But we're going to be passing out flyers from the Harley location tomorrow. If you can get flyers and print them and bring them to donate them so that we can give them to people to pass out, please, by all means, do that. I will come and get them from
Trish,
you if you're a local business.
I've got to take a break. I love your passion. Can you hang on and give me 2 more minutes after this break to ask you some more questions, okay?
Yeah.
Quick break. Back in a minute. Y'all stay tuned. Back in a minute. All right, we'll get back in here real quick. AJ's playing ZZ Top because drummer Frank Beard has passed away. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. Back to Trish and our manhunt. I say manhunt, our search. So one more time, people can show up where or go where. I want to make sure we repeat that as much as possible so people know exactly what you need them to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we're going to be at the Pelham Harley-Davidson tomorrow, Wednesday, August 19th through Friday, August 21st. We're going to be at that location from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. every day for those 3 days. We're going to be hopefully dispersing flyers for people to pass out, to take to local businesses, even go and knocking door to door at people's houses. Because like I said earlier, there might be people that live close by that don't even know he's missing.
Yeah.
So, and also if there's local businesses that will donate flyers, I think I mentioned this a few minutes ago, but I have over 1,000 flyers that have just been donated since I left your station earlier today.
That's
so I've
wonderful.
been going around picking those up. It's wonderful, and I'm so appreciative for it, but we need lots more because we're going to be out there for 3 days, and we're going to be out there for 12 hours, 13 hours a day. So we're going to need a lot.
Trish, I always admire people. I always admire people that are fired up about things. We had John Rich on last week with a case, and I asked him a question I'm going to ask you. We got 1 minute, but this seems very personal.
Sure.
You've got a lot of energy. What connects you to this case? Why are you so all over this?
It's a people thing, It's you see this guy. He's been a part of my community and Alabaster as a whole for so many years, and it's just you want to take care of him and you want to bring him home and you want to make sure he's safe. And as a person who loves God and loves the Lord, God puts it on my heart to do certain things, and I don't question it. I'm just like, all right, well, this is what you're calling me to do, so I have to do it. I've got my heels dug in, and I'm not going to stop until we find him.
That was the exact answer I'd hoped you would give. Trish, I appreciate you calling us. Call us anytime, the rest of the day or the rest of the week. Let us know exactly what you need. Or if we get narrowed down on a certain area where we can direct people, let me know. We'll do what we can to do our part, okay?
Oh, look, can I give you that link to that search area?
One more time, real fast. Go.
Okay, it's CALT, CALTOPO.com, and just put in the name Glenn Spitz.
All right, we got it. Thanks, Trish. We're going to take it to the top. 1819 News, a lot more to do on the other side. Stay tuned.